things. Jung tells us a little bit about shame, and for him, shame has this demonic quality because toxic shame has this demonic quality because it cuts us off from the generative principle. It cuts us off from life. So you just talk about depression, you talk about alcoholism, you talk about all these other mental health conditions that a person who would have been exposed to a shame-filled space may be struggling with. So let's talk a little bit more about shame. So there are two types of shame. There's healthy shame, and then there's toxic shame. Healthy shame is there to help us understand that we are limited as human beings in this world. We are limited, and that we must operate within our limitation. Understand, accept, and know that we must operate within our limitation because we're not all powerful, right? Ultimate power belongs to the archetypal realm. It's not a human thing, okay? So in that sense, that's what healthy shame helps us to do. Toxic shame, on the other hand, tells us that we are not limited. To some degree, tells us that we're not limited, that we are big, all-encompassing, and that we control everything. That's one strand of toxic shame. And then on the other hand, there are two ends of it. On the extreme right, we're big, we're grandiose. On the extreme left, we are weak, we're impotent, and we deserve to die. That's what toxic shame does. It robs us of the ability to grow and to become whole. And it manifests in many different ways. So for example, in terms of toxic shame, there is a...
And for those whose anxiety, depression, and stress may get escalated, so that comes from the toxic
shame.
Shame.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. As I said, there are two poles. On one hand, you're weak. You feel as though you're defective and you're not good, right? And then on the other hand, instead of identifying with your limitations, you're not weak. You're strong, you're grandiose, you can do anything and everything. But behind that, there is a shame that you're covering with your grandiosity, right? And on the other hand, the person who is weak, who is defective, what they're doing, they're covering their shame because they're hiding, right? And so for someone who may be depressed, we may find that the depression is rooted in shame. Shame that may come from an inherited shame that came from the family, right? Or a shame that was learned, that was taught to the individual. So for example, what we know in terms of healthy shame is offered to us in a conducive environment, in a prepared environment. This means that the child knows that, okay, he or she is playing with their feces, right? But the child doesn't know what feces is, right? And mother or caregiver spanks the child, shames the child, ridicules the child, and like to tell him that, okay, this is not what you're supposed to do. You cannot express yourself in this particular way. Rather than helping them to understand that, okay, we understand that you're within this age range, and this is what you're trying to do now. You're trying to express yourself, but we want you to do it in a way that you don't make a whole mess, right? So you have two opposite things occurring here. One is the individual being shamed by the caregiver, right? And the other one where the individual is being told, okay, there's another way for you to express yourself. You can express yourself here, yes, but there's another way for you to do it whereby it's not so dangerous to you or dangerous to the environment.
Can I also use that example when a man tell a woman, you know, you ain't good No man won't want you.
Yes.
So I'm the only one who can put up with you.
Yes.
And so some women sometimes say the same thing to men too.
Yes.
So can we use that as an example as well?
Yes, that's a good example. It's as if he's shaming her to say that she's of no value. She's not good, right? And she's only good because he has the ability to acknowledge her. It's as if her goodness is predicated on his wanting her, right? Well, I would be concerned to know a little bit about him and his psychology. Why is it that he's behaving in that particular way, and where shame lies in his life?
But that's on the psychology point of view.
Yes.
But for me, as just a regular woman in
Yes.
that person's life,
Yes.
and I may not have the intellectual that you have
Yes.
to question
Yeah.
where that behavior comes from.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just a regular person into his life, and this is what I've been hearing every day.
Yes, and including the fact that maybe this individual was shamed earlier in life as well, and they thought that they were not good enough as well, right? That they were not valuable, and this is the only way they can become valuable is because someone else, this man, is saying, okay, I value you, but then at the same time, you're only valuable when I say you're valuable.
So in a way, in order for a man to treat a woman like that, or a woman to treat a man like that, you must have a problem.
Yes,
You know,
yes, that's
on
what
your
I'm saying.
own.
You
Okay.
have a problem. There is an issue there.
Okay.
Right? Maybe in this discussion, I'll talk a little bit about what could be at play there. As I was saying, there are these two poles, right? And so perhaps this person who is operating from that space of saying, you're only valuable because I'm giving you value, is grandiose, and he's covering his own shame by doing that, right? And for her, in this example, she may have been at the other end of the pole, socialized in such a way where she feels as though she's not valuable. I don't really know the statistics on this, but you find that a lot of times people who have shame-based streaks or shame-based history tend to collide with each other, tend to marry each other, right? Like someone who is at this extreme end may only want someone who is so weak, so not good, that they can find value in themselves by being with that person.
Someone
Right.
that he feels who is beneath him.
Yes, who is beneath him. Yes. I think I said this earlier, that underneath narcissism is shame. Below narcissism is shame. Because the narcissist, in many ways, is a very weak, psychologically and emotionally weak individual, right? Whereby